Alright guys, so in this video, we're just going to go ahead and quickly go ahead and style this out. Obviously, as you work with JavaScript, you might want to learn also how to style this out. And for those of you who have already taken HTML, this is going to be fairly simple. We're going to be using Bootstrap to, just add some style in it. We're not going to take the time to actually create custom CSS, for this. So to get Bootstrap, all you need to do is go to getbootstrap.com and documentation, getting started. You'll see this CSS link in here. So go ahead and copy it. And that is going to be our link. All right. So in this case, I believe I already added it up here. Oh, yeah. But just to show you guys how to do it, right underneath your meta tags, just go ahead and paste that in there. Go ahead and save it. And now automatically we have some styles that are going to be applied to our application. So if we go back to it, you'll notice that we have a little bit of a difference. Right now it's not a whole lot, but for example, the buttons look slightly different. So we can go ahead and start adding some elements in here. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just cut this out entirely. And just be mindful, I'm going to cut it out because I'm going to be pasting it inside some containers. All right. So the first thing is I just gave it away. I'm going to create a container in here. So I'm going to do dot and then the name of the container. By default, if you don't add a name of a tag in here with Visual Studio Code, it's just going to create a div for you, okay? So in this case, you see it creates my div class. Oh, it creates a div and then creates a class called container. Now in here, additionally, I forgot I'm going to add a padding to it, so I'll do py5. So I had some padding at the top of this. Then in here, I'll go ahead and create a row. So I'll do dot row. And in here, I'm going to go ahead and create a column. So I'll do dot col dot text dash center. And you know what? The center is not... Oh, let's leave the center for right now. Like so. And now inside of this column, I'm going to create a card. Okay, so I'll do dot card. And inside the card, I'm going to create a set of 3 divs. So the first one is going to be called header. So card dash header. And I'm going to move down below and create another one called card dash body. And then I'm going to create the final one, dot card dash footer. Okay. So now in here, what I'm going to go ahead and do is inside of the body, I'm going to paste all of my code. And I'm going to save so it formats a little bit nicer. But I want to go ahead and remove my H1 from here. So I'm going to cut this out and I'm going to paste this inside of my header. Okay. So now in here, let's go ahead and save it so it formats out a little bit better. I want to reselect what's inside of the card body. So what we just pasted, I'm going to cut it out again. And I'm going to create a form, okay? I'm going to paste this in here. Now, obviously, the form, there are different ways that you can do so. Well, style this out. Right now, we're just going to use a form because, it's basically what's a little bit faster for us. So in here, I'm going to change this H3 header to a label. And I'm going to add a class of form dash label. Okay. Now in the input, I'm going to add another class of form dash control. And then we'll do the same thing for this one. So in here, I'll change this to label. And it'll be, let me just copy it over, class form label. And then in here, we'll do the same thing for the control. And I forgot the class. There we go. So now these buttons, you can leave them here or you can move them over. But right now, let's just grab this over here, this H1 tag. I'm going to cut it out and I'll bring it over to the footer and I'll paste that in I'm gonna paste that in there, and I'm gonna change this. And you know what? Let's do a display, right? So let's do class, and I'll do display dash 3. So it's a little bit larger than, well, let's see how it looks, right? And for these guys, let's just do class btn space, and we're gonna do btn dash primary for both of them. So go ahead and save that. So let's go back to our page, and apparently I forgot something. Let's see what I forgot. Label first, form, label control. First value, second value. So why are you so sad? Let's see. Oh. You know what? I just realized my mistake. So in here, I created a class called form. So I'm going to change this to just be form. So now if I save it, still nothing. All right, let's see. Give me a second to check this out. All right, guys, so I found my enormous mistake, which is just misspell class here. So I'll just change that to class as it should be. Now if we come back, there we go. Now obviously this still could be better. For example, we could add some padding here so the buttons aren't smushed against. So we can go ahead and do that. So I'll grab these buttons, cut them out, and then just put them inside their own container with a class of py1. So not too big. And then put the buttons back in there, save it out. And then now there's a little space in between, right? Obviously, if you wanted a little bit more, let's try padding 3. And there we go. So now, in theory, things should work, but you'll notice that we're going to have an issue. So if I hit, for example, this. Oh, you know what? I took care of that little issue earlier. So let me just remove this part, which is what solves our issue. And then let's see the issue back, right? So now if I click this, you see the value disappears. So let's do like 13, and value disappears. So we get a quick glimpse of our results, and then it disappears. And that's because of the CSS that we decided to do. So we have encapsulated our elements inside a form. So if we want to keep using the form, then we're gonna have to go ahead and remove certain behaviors. And all that really entails is just call over the operator. Since this is the event that is being done, so to the element, we just need to tell prevent default. And that way, it'll prevent the default behavior of our form, and thus giving us the option to, see our result and see it there. All right. So that is it. So as you can see, we have added some style to this, so it no longer looks as hideous as it did. And honestly, as you can see, is not all that hard. I would recommend, if you guys want to go ahead and get into styling better some of your HTML elements on the Bootstrap documentation, you have access to all these. For example, in here, the forms, form control. So you can see how you can style something out and have it be displayed to the user, right? So an overview. If you want just an email and password, you can, just copy this form over and it'll give you this exact same layout, right? So there's a whole lot of things that you can do. So in here, I would suggest check it out on your own time. And I'll see you guys in the next video.